Good evening from yammybtv. Wishing you all well today. Sending loads of love as usual. Now, before I go into tonight's gruesome tale and infamous story from way back in the day, from the place that we've never really talked about on yammybtv, and that place is Monster Mansion, really known as HMP Wakefield. It is called Monster Mansion for one reason and one reason alone. It is housed 80% of men that are there. It is housed by some of the most heinous men who have committed the most heinous of crimes over a lifetime in England. But you don't have to be a sex offender or a horrible human being or a human being of such nature, so to speak. So I don't really go over the top with this. To be housed there. Because you could be a gangster, you could be doing the block circuit, going from block to block, being moved around a lot, you've been taken out of circulation, and you have to be housed somewhere. So sometimes, as a stitch-up move, by the screws, you can be sent there, and you have to be around them. And when I tell you that you have to be around them, it is not, imagine a prison in the CAT A is being run by us lot. Where the sex offenders and the ones that commit heinous crimes haven't got no say. Well, it's near enough the other way round in Monster Mansion, HMP Wakefield. We could almost say it could remind you of something like Planet of the Apes, where it's a complete change of rules, if you like, because it's a different set of personnel running the gaff. But before I go into the story, I'd just like to remind you all, and we're off to a flyer. Thank you very much for all your support on my combo shot health, where the first 1,000 bottles, 25% are going to mental health causes, which I will be able to prove the money going to as well by way of videos. You know, Uncle Yammy already, we would have the proof there. We've got a couple hundred bottles done already. But yep, just to remind you to go to combo shot health ASAP if you're down for the help and the cause of mental health, which, you know, sadly a lot of us have. But anyway, the story, my God. So way back in the day, or should we say a lot of lifers, and it's fair, in places like Wakefield, a lot of nonces or sex offenders or men of that kind like to have budgies. Because for some reason, I don't know what it is, maybe it's because they're doing a long time, but that has to be one of the reasons. But most do have budgie guards because they're probably someone to talk to, or probably the only friend that they're ever going to have in life is going to be that budgie. Now, way back in the day, where you get the gangsters that don't want to play ball, and who wants to play ball about being told what to do by the sex offenders, and also the screws turning on you as well, prison officers, because they're riding with the sex offenders. They're taking their sides almost on anything, so they're equally to blame with it, if you like, if it's fair to say as well. So imagine the budgie guards are coming in, a lot are being bought. Many men have them, but amongst one of us that are not nonces or sex offenders, there is a budgie guard killer, and he is on the loose. And over a period of time, probably 10 to 15 murders of budgies took place. I'm an animal lover. I'm not going to laugh at it. I'm not going to say anything on the matter. Just a story that I'm just going to tell. But this is the way it took place. Murdered, the budgie, stuffed, and its feet glued together. And some nonsense didn't even know that the budgies had been murdered. Some for days didn't even know. And in the end, when they found out, they set a trap to try and catch the gangster. Now, they set a trap, 4 or 5 of them, and they set on the big man and caught him in the act and tried to strangle him to death, right? So they were nearly killing him, beating him to death. He was screaming for help, and lo and behold, there were a few from Cheetham Hill, big up there, from down there in Manchester. There were a couple from Cheetham Hill who were on standby to rush into the cell with Stanley knives and you know, do the slashing, fair to say, the cutting, the chopping, the stabbing, whatever we want to call it. They were there at the right time and they saved him. The screws even give the budgie killer a beating as well. Imagine that. He asked for a doctor, and this is what they said when he asked for a doctor. They brought a picture of a doctor and they said, this is the closest you're ever going to get to see a doctor. And they showed him a picture. He didn't even get to see a doctor. But this is the difference between the CAT A's, because many people ask Yammy, why is it so different from the other CAT A's, Wakefield, etc. Simply because it's housed by monsters, but not all are monsters in there. And sad though it is for the dead budgies, you know, it is a famous story and an infamous one. And those that have been around the circuit will remember it, of even being there when it happened. And it's something you can probably look up as well and find out about. I'm going to be up later on for a bedtime story. There's a couple of other things, but please remember, as quick as you can, comboshop.health. Uncle Yammy is the ambassador. Love you all dearly. I'll be up soon.